on 30 minutes. All right, and we're online, and this is the regular meeting of on Agile Ventures of the project Rundfunk mitbestimmen. It's Federica and May, and today we're probably going to talk a little bit about the latest visualization and also about a pull request done by Sigo, who's possibly not going to join. And I think, Federica, you also wanted to set up the tests, didn't you? Last time when we met.
So I ran those tests. What I was waiting for was, so actually last night I had not had time to do that local host issue, and I was going to do it real quick, and I noticed that Sigu was taking care of it, which was great. And I did add like one comment on his pull request that he changed the line to line 7. Let me pull it up.
Yeah, I think I've seen it. Maybe you can just show it on GitHub. Should I give you the link?
Yeah, if you have it, that'd be great. Yeah, but other than that, so it was, yeah. So if you could just move that to line 7 right here, so it's on the default config. Because I know that like last week, for example, Laze was having trouble with it. He had it, I think, actually right there, and then he just moved it up to line 7, and that's where I usually have it. Right there.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that you cannot change the that you cannot add commits to the pull request. Sigo forked the repository, and I guess you don't have permissions to commit changes on his pull requests. The only thing you could do is send him a pull request on his branch, which we then in turn merged into the origin repository. You know what I mean?
Yes, I do know what you mean. Yeah. Yeah, but hopefully he'll take care of that here pretty soon.
Yeah.
And so what I was just going to say that once he has that done, and maybe the README set up, maybe we might want to retry doing that recording with the new README and everything.
Sure.
And try to do it like quickly. Plus, we had Laze do it last week, so we know maybe how to do it a little faster this time.
Yeah. The README also changed a little.
Yes, I noticed that. Yeah, it looks good. Yeah. Other than that, I'm fine. I think we should focus on what you did.
Sure. I would actually like to ask you what you think you are seeing there. Like, what do you think? What do you think is that?
Well, let me go back. I clicked on it. I did want to see the difference. Does it matter if I have cookies turned off? Because like over here, I usually on this browser, I always have the cookies turned off.
Yeah.
And over here, I don't. So I just wanted to see if it mattered. Okay. It looks okay. It looks the same, I mean. Okay, so overview of changes.
Oh, damn it. The translation is broken, I see. It doesn't, I put it into Google Translate, and broadcast and shipment is very similar in German. But it should be broadcast. I will, in the subheader there, it says development of approval values of all shipments. No, broadcasts.
Oh, okay. I see.
So that's the first thing. I'm spotting.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, that makes more sense. Okay, so if broadcast did not exist in our database 3 months ago, then there is no data available at that time. So like these, a change in approval cannot be calculated. Okay, and this one here, the change in approval in percent is coded into the color of the bubbles. Okay. The bigger the bubbles, the more data the broadcast has received in the last 3 months. Okay. A large bubble indicates a higher confidence of a trend. Okay.
Does it actually make sense? Is it proper English?
Yes, it is. It is proper English, yes. Changes over time.
And I had, there's another error. Maybe I should change the translation here. You would see now the changes of one broadcast, not many. And while I'm on it, maybe I can change the title to the broadcast title somehow. It's not loading any model from the database. You know what I mean? It should be, this page should be specific for one broadcast.
Oh,
That's
okay.
the ID, the URL.
Okay.
Yeah, this was the preview page, let's say, from of that page that you're currently seeing, and I just moved it. I added the broadcast ID, and here you would see a line chart, for example, of that particular broadcast. So I didn't update the translation. It should be just one broadcast, and then you can compare the development of certain properties of the broadcast.
Okay.
But I mean, I'm glad that you found out that you can actually click on those bubbles. Fair enough.
Yeah, okay. Can you see the tooltip?
Yes, I can.
Okay. Let me see this one. Okay. All right, so I'm gonna test that. Okay. Yeah, it's just really big, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't know how to fix that one. So if you hit refresh when you change the width of your browser window, it shrinks down. But I don't know how to re-render. Well, I wonder if there's any event that I can take in order to re-render the page when the browser window becomes smaller.
I would say don't worry about it, Robert, right now, because I mean, not too many people will be resizing it. You know, if you have it when it's set, when it loads like that, I think that looks great. Yeah, I wouldn't worry about it too much for now.
But what do you think? Does it actually make sense? Like, can you give me some feedback of the visualization technique? Is it actually a proper way of visualizing? So the goal here was you should be able to spot very quickly which broadcast actually did change somehow. And so this as a first step in order to go into the detail visualization or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think you're doing great. 60% for this. Oh, 60 to 52. Okay. Okay. Oh, so it's actually 238 to 265. So this is live now, right? This is the new version. Let me just, how do you navigate there? So if I go home, it's just over here on visualization. Right, yeah. Okay. Yeah, good job, Robert.
I mean, do you think this is actually a proper visualization? Like, I really had the problem that I spent a couple of days in order to. I was researching a lot, and I couldn't find anything, to be honest. How to visualize many items at once, and you should be able to spot certain interesting items, let's say.
Right.
And also, I mean, it's not great to have a metaphor. You know, if you visualize changes, the line chart, I think, has the best metaphor because you see how things are going up or down. But I cannot show like hundreds of line charts in one window.
Yeah.
So I have to use something else, and I decided to go for color.
I think that's a good choice. Usually that works. Yeah. Yeah, so when you click on them, okay, so it's, okay, but it does have that, okay.
Or maybe the naming of the URL is also not optimal. It should be something like, how do you describe temporal changes? Like, I would say progress is a good wording, but the time is very generic.
I don't know, evolution maybe? That's, I don't know.
Evolution. Yeah.
I don't know. Let's see, progress.
Yeah, I'm sometimes using for synonyms. Progress. Yeah.
Advancement.
Advancement. Yeah.
Growth. Growth, development. I don't know. I don't think it's a big deal. I think that's okay for now. Unless you really want to change it. Yeah, so did you want to explain a little more of your process or anything else about this?
Yeah, so it was kind of complex to accomplish that. So with Domenico, we had the preparations in order to calculate these values. The problem is, if you think of a Rails database, The only thing you usually have is the created at attribute and the modified at. And that's not what we want, because we have a long table, the join model between users, the broadcasts. And you can, at any time, as a user, support a broadcast, unsupported it, support it, and let's distribute your budget on it, or or change your mind, right?
Yeah.
And you can change that that record as well, so you can update it. And we wanted to be able to visualize this trend at least for one broadcast. And we made use of a particular gem called Chrono Model, which kind of hooks into the Postgres adapter, the standard Postgres adapter of Rails. And it has a dependency. That's why we need Postgres version at least 9.4. This version introduced so-called temporal tables that will create a record that has a validity for a certain period.
Okay.
Starting at a certain point in time, ending at a particular timestamp. So you can then have a select and select only those records that were valid at a given date. Okay. Right?
Yeah.
So what the backend does is it queries the same table twice. First, it queries the whole table for valid records at a particular timestamp.
Okay. And
does all the calculations on that. So computing the average, the sum, the number of broadcasts, the approval value, and so on. And this works pretty well. I was kind of astonished how well this works. So it is kind of scary if you think of hacking into your Postgres adapter. But as soon as you decided to do it, actually, I'm pretty happy with Chrono Model so far. It didn't hit me or something. I was expecting this to be heavy machinery, and I wasn't sure whether this actually introduces more bugs or whatever. But it works well, really well. So let's say you have those two different table results. Then you have all the statistics at the particular point in time. You can have it for all broadcasts, or can have it for one particular broadcast. In that case, we are computing it for all broadcasts. And then you can query the same table at the very moment, like now. And then you have two different result sets. Possibly there are also new broadcasts in the new result set, because if a broadcast was created within those two dates, then you don't have data 3 months ago, but you have data now.
Okay.
And this is also how you compute then the difference of, I think in mathematical terms it's called delta, is it?
Yes.
If you just subtract the recent date, the recent value from the old value. Oh, otherwise, I don't know, but you know what I mean?
Yes.
And this is how where the color comes from.
Okay.
And then I had to figure out how to implement bubble charts with D3. First, I thought maybe a table is a good choice, but I wasn't very happy with that. Because all you want to know is where is an interesting broadcast. Interesting means a broadcast that is progressing a lot, for example. The first view should just give you, that should be the entry point in order to see the broadcast that changed a lot in the last 3 months. Now in this case, only those pink bubbles are interesting, or green bubbles. And most of them are just blue because they didn't change a lot, which makes sense, because the more and the more data you get, the more accurate your statistical value should be, and it shouldn't change a lot anymore, right?
Yes.
And those broadcasts, for example, like Tagesschau, those broadcasts are very common. They are popular in terms of everybody remembers that broadcast. Many people search for it. So it gets a lot of data. Many people vote for that broadcast. And that's why we can be very confident the general approval, for example, stays the same. And you can see it's actually blue, is it? It's one of those big bubbles. Yeah, it's kind of blue. Yeah, okay, 1%. But yeah, that doesn't change a lot. While, for example, game 2, on the bottom on the right, rather pink. No, left, yeah. So this one is the broadcast that is on. If you just take the total amount, this would be rank number 1. But this broadcast is very, very special because the people of that show shared a link on Reddit. They have a subreddit for their show. They shared a link to our website. So they basically told all their all the people, all the audience, to visit our site and vote for that broadcast, and that's why it got so many votes. That was last year in June, I think. And now it really had a high approval value because so many people really wanted to vote for it and wanted to distribute their broadcast fees on their broadcast. And now the hype, let's say, has diminished, and if people see it, they rather don't vote for it. So it kind of, the approval value decreased a little.
Okay.
Does it make any sense at all?
Yes, it does. Yes.
It took me a while to get my head around this whole thing. I haven't seen something similar like that anywhere else on the web.
Yeah, I don't think I have either.
Yeah, that's also a very popular broadcast.
Yeah.
By the way, approval is computed how many people vote, how many people want to support a broadcast if if the broadcast gets suggested to a user. So if you go and find broadcast, you get suggestions, and the system knows whether you have seen it, and the system also knows whether you clicked on support. And approval is the percentage of people who supported it compared to the people who actually got this broadcast as a suggestion.
Okay. Okay, and you used D3, right?
Yes, it's D3.
Was that, how do you like that?
I do like D3. I like D3 a lot. There's plenty out there. There's also a lot of examples, and this is necessary, I think. I find it most difficult to know. Let's say you have, if it's very straightforward, it's perfect because you just type in what you want to visualize, and you will find an example, and you can basically just copy paste from that. So when I visualize the relationships, I knew there was an example out there, and you can just copy paste it. Not this time. So first I tried to use a different visualization technique because I wasn't quite sure what to use, and I didn't like the result. And that consumed a lot of time and effort because I basically had to throw the result into the bin. And I went for something else, like the bubble chart. So I don't think it's a problem of D3. It's a problem of data visualization in general. You usually can only assess or evaluate what the result, or you have how do you say, you know if it's good or not at the very end after you spend a lot of time. So this moment, for example, is the moment where I actually get some feedback from you, whether this is a reasonable way of visualizing changes.
Yeah, I think so.
So far, I see that you immediately clicked on one of the bubbles, which is good, but you didn't. You needed some time in order to find the tooltip, for example, where it has the actual absolute values.
Yeah, a little bit of time. Yeah.
This is kind of hidden. Maybe I should put that into the description at least.
Yeah, maybe.
So update the translation, maybe put a hint into the description, and also exactly, and maybe if you click on those bubbles, you should see at least the broadcast title in order for you to know, okay, I came on the site, or I came on the details page of that broadcast, where you can see a line chart maybe, which is not implemented right now.
Yeah, those would be good steps. Yeah, but I think overall, yeah, nice work. Good job, Robert.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you for your feedback.
Yeah, no problem.
So what's the time, by the way? I would actually like to have it. Yeah, it's 3 minutes from now.
Okay.
Until we reach the 30 minutes.
Yeah. Do you want to try to wrap up, or
did you have anything? Well, we could either wrap up unless you have some questions regarding your setup or something.
No. I think I'm fine. I ran those tests, and I have not ran them again. Right here. Yeah. So this was the front end, right? Yeah. No. This is Cucumber. Yeah, I got most of them to pass.
So it the color of the font color is yellow. So that's actually green, is it? It's supposed to be green and yeah, I see.
Yeah, and let's see, I think I got, so this is the front end. So this is from like 3 weeks ago.
So if you use the most recent version, maybe we have some flaky tests on our build server right now. That's because that's caused by a bug in a plugin, which should be fixed very soon, I hope. Sometimes the build server fails randomly because it cannot build the front end. And we ran into that today when I tried to merge all the dependencies. And it's about 50% chance that the build server actually runs and doesn't crash right now. Maybe, I don't know. So if you only see a few tests that are failing, that should not be caused by this bug. Have you tried to see what's actually the problem when those tests are failing? Maybe something that, maybe a certain element that's missing. I don't know. By the way, you can also run the headless end-to-end test with an actual browser, and then you can see if it's a timing issue, for example, or if there's really something broken.
Yes, and I
expected to find visible detail created at. Yeah, also found. Okay, so that's actually a bug. You're seeing a date, and it's 27th July of 2017. But it finds something that says 26th July. Probably this is actually a bug. I wonder where this comes from, because our build server is doing fine, and maybe there's some strange error with localization or whatever, and we didn't fix that. Right. So that was the 30 minutes deadline.
So here later tonight I'll download the latest and run the tests, and I'll let you know if I'm getting that bug and if I'm still getting these two failures here.
Yeah, nice. And have a double check of the README, because now you also have Sidekick running for the end-to-end tests.
Right.
Because now if your browser is voting on a certain broadcast, Sidekick will try to run a job in order to recompute the similarities, for example. And if Sidekick is not running, it will fail, and the backend will respond with 500.
Okay. Yeah. So
well, fair enough. So let's wrap up, I would say.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So basically, we talked about the latest pull request by Sigu, and we just wait for Sigu to change that very line. We kind of talked about the README, which changed a little, and you, Federico, can maybe try out the latest version and maybe run Sidekick as well. Hope that will fix your problem.
Yeah.
And apart from that, I got feedback for the latest feature, and I will probably work on that one first, like change the translations and add the broadcast title on the page that you see when you click on the bubble. Great.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is it, I would say.
Yeah. Thank you, Robert. Good job. Good work.